Hello, I'm Ray Fetty, your Tulsa real estate man. www.tulsarealestateman.com, 918-633-4775. This is my How to Buy a House seminar, and today our subject is foreclosures. Last time we talked about short sales. Today we're going to talk about foreclosures. And this is, as you're trying to buy a house, whether or not you should consider looking at foreclosures. First of all, if you are a cash buyer, if you have, $50, $60, $100, $150,000 in cash to purchase a new home, then a foreclosure is something that you probably want to consider. Or if you do have some amount of cash, like 25% of what the value of the house you're going to purchase, so that you could qualify for a conventional loan, which is generally about 20% down. If you're one of those people, then a foreclosure is something good for you to look at. You know, you've heard the old saying, it takes money to make money. That's probably true when it comes to looking at foreclosures and purchasing foreclosures. If you have money, cash, then you can get into a foreclosure pretty easily. Now, if you're not in that category, then we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I want to talk right now about some of the things that you should consider when purchasing a foreclosure. When you look at a foreclosure, you have to think of yourself as an investor. Okay, you're not going to walk into many foreclosed properties and say, boy, this looks exactly like what I could move into tomorrow, and I love it. A lot of times you have to look at the bones. Okay, when I say the bones, I'm saying the structure. Make sure it has a good roof and it's in a good location, and you have to see beyond its current condition. Okay, because sometimes its current condition is not that great. Very often a foreclosure has sat for a year, maybe 2 years. All right, it might have gotten some mold in it. It might have had a lot of people go through it, and maybe the carpet's messed up. Could be that the former owner, when he got foreclosed on, took appliances out of it, maybe got angry and poked holes in the walls. Those are some of the things that we see in foreclosed properties. So those are things that you're going to have to take care of. You're going to have to repair. It could be that it's an older house and it's going to need renovation and upgrading. So you have to look at a foreclosure like an investor. Okay, and this is how I think an investor would look at a house. He would say, okay, here's what I can pay for it right now. Here's the amount of money I'm going to have to put into it. And here's what it's going to be worth when I'm finished. Okay? That's how you have to look at a foreclosure. And when I'm finished, after I've purchased it for this amount and put this amount of money into it, is it going to be worth more than those first two figures in the end? Okay? And if so, then a foreclosure is going to be a good deal. So let's say I can get my foreclosure and I can get it for $100,000. Okay? But it's going to probably take $30,000 worth of repairs. But in the end, I'm going to have a home that's worth $150,000 on the market today. If you can do that, then you just made $20,000. Okay? And that's the way an investor thinks. That's the way you need to think if you go out shopping for a foreclosure. You know, one of the things you can do is you can go to Home Depot, you can go to Lowe's, and start getting an idea of what things cost, what it's going to cost to replace carpet, what it's going to cost for new countertops or cabinets, or new kitchen appliances and things like that. And when you go to look at a foreclosed property with your realtor, and hopefully that's going to be me, okay? 633-4775. But when we go look at that property, we're going to start making notes about what we see that needs to be done to make this house in move-in condition. And then you go back and you take pencil to paper and you start adding up what it's going to cost to do the repairs of what needs to be done to that house, and then we run comps on what a house like that is worth when it's in move-in condition in that neighborhood. And when we see that in the end we're going to have more than what you purchased it for and the amount of money it took to do the upgrades, then you've got a good deal. Okay, and that's the way you need to look at foreclosures. Generally, foreclosures are not move-in condition. Now, the banks are, some banks are starting to do, I know Wells Fargo, for instance, is starting to make repairs on some of their foreclosures. Okay, and once they make those repairs, and sometimes you can still get it at a discounted price under what its current market value is, and you can end up in a good situation. But a lot of times foreclosures have some issues, some repairs and upgrades are going to need to be done. Now, I started out talking about having cash, maybe qualifying for a conventional mortgage, having maybe 20-25% down payment. A lot of people are qualified for an FHA mortgage. If you're qualified for an FHA mortgage and you want to consider a foreclosure, you're going to have to find one that's in move-in condition. And you need a realtor who can help you when you walk into that house determine if that house is going to come close to appraising under an FHA appraisal. Okay, because you're going to have to pay for an appraisal. Once you write a contract on a house, the contract's ratified, accepted, and you've applied for your mortgage and you've done the inspections, then there's going to be an appraisal. And if that appraisal takes place and that house needs something that FHA is going to require and the bank's not willing to make those repairs, then you will have just thrown away $350, $400 for an FHA appraisal and lost the house. Okay, so you have to be careful when you're looking at houses if you have an FHA mortgage. Now there are programs, 203K, which is a renovation loan. Sometimes the interest rate's a little higher on those, and sometimes it takes a little bit more to qualify for a renovation loan. The bank looks at you a little tougher, but that is something you can do. And but if you have cash, you're going to be a lot better off looking at foreclosures. You can get a good deal. Either way, please call me. I'd be glad to help you find a foreclosure that's a good deal for you. Call me. I'm the Tulsa Real Estate Man, www.tulsarealestateman.com, 918-633-4775. Thanks.